Hey guys, it's me, Amaterasu, back with another part 2, Shinichiku's first adventure, aka, what if Naruto and Sakura had a child. Anyways, I hope all of you enjoy this video, and without further ado, roll the intro.
Hey Ross, sauce it up. My wheels got in my bag and I got all my feels. I'm getting this paper, I'm stacking a meal. I'm with your hoe in the house on the hills. Yeah. I'ma keep it real, had to sacrifice to try to get my bands up. Shorty wanna fuck with me, she see me on the camera. She said she in love with me, but really I can't stand her. She just want part of this life cause she see me on the ground.
Chapter 17, Parents and Children. The cave was dark, gloomy, lit only by the light of the flaring torch that the blonde Jinan was holding. The raven-haired, bifocaled girl beside him kept a careful watch around them for any surprises. "Hey Sarada, you okay?" Shinachiku asked. "Oh yeah, I'm just trying to stay alert and see if I can find anything suspicious." "Well, I'll leave it to you. A master of the Sharingan like you, I'll bet nothing escapes your notice," the boy said excitedly. Sarada frowned. What her old friend said troubled her, a lot. Still, something inside her, for whatever reason, told her that she should come clean with her secret. Actually, well, the thing is, Shinachiku looked at her in concern. "Sarada, what's wrong?" Sarada looked down, unable to make eye contact with the boy. Whatever was bugging her was really bugging her. "Sarada? Shinachiku, if I tell you a secret, do you promise not to tell anyone else about it?" "Yeah, sure. I mean it, no one. Not your parents, not your sister, not our friends. Don't even tell my parents that I told you. Please." Okay, I promise. Geez. The boy calmed down and faced her. "Now what is it?" Sarada took a deep breath. "Shina, the truth is ... and quat." The girl closed her eyes in shame at what she was about to say. "I can't use the Sharingan." Shinachiku was shocked. "What? But you're an Uchiha." I know. I've been trying my whole life to activate it, but it's never happened. I know that my dad's disappointed in me. He never says it, but I know don't say that." Shinachiku shouted. "Your dad loves you. I saw it up on the surface before we came down here, and I'm sure that you'll awaken your Sharingan one day. You just need to keep training." "I've been training," Sarada snapped. "Every day, as hard as I can, since I was a little girl, but nothing's worked. It's been my biggest shame as a ninja, member of the Uchiha clan, and as Sasuke's daughter. I'm meant to be the future of my clan, but instead I can barely see a thing without these damn glasses." Shinachiku could see the girl was on the verge of tears. It reminded him of his sister whenever she was sad. He hated to see girls cry, especially strong, pretty girls like Sarada. His instantly wrapped her into a comforting hug, not even thinking clearing enough to feel embarrassed about it. Sarada, on the other hand, was blushing red as a tomato. "Don't cry Sarada," the boy told her. "You have nothing to be ashamed of. You're a strong, smart, brave girl, the coolest girl I know. And you're only 12, so don't feel too bad that you haven't awakened your Sharingan yet Shina. My dad awakened his when he was 7. I've been told my uncle Itachi did it when he was 8. Sarada, come on. Your dad witnessed the entire clan being wiped out that night, and Itachi was, well, Itachi. You shouldn't let your clan's legacy or their expectations of you define who you are. Look at me, I'm nowhere close to my dad's level, or my mom's, but I don't beat myself up over it. I'm still growing up, and the best things in life only come through hard work and sacrifice." But he broke the hug and put his hand on her shoulder. "Listen, maybe you're just a late bloomer or something. I know that one day your Sharingan is going to awaken, and even if it doesn't, you're still going to be an awesome shinobi one day Sarada. Believe it." He smiled warmly at her. "Besides, I think you look good in glasses." For the first time since this whole conversation started, the young Uchiha era smiled, very warmly too. Ever since she first met this boy, way back when they were little, there was always something about him. Sure, he could be a real clown sometimes and say and do things that got on her nerves, but that was all secondary to the strong, caring, compassionate young man that was speaking to her now. She couldn't help herself. She embraced Shinachiku in another tight hug, which he did return, but then it went a step further. She planted a kiss right on the boy's cheek. The young Uzumaki heir could not believe what just happened. He had always thought that Sarada was cute, but never in a million years did he ever suspect this. Sarada, too, had an almost paralyzing realization of what she had just done. Blushing deeper than she had been that entire day, she was quick to apologize. "Oh God, I'm sorry Shina. I don't know what came over me. I'm really sorry, it's okay, really and quat." Shinachiku, like Sarada, was blushing as he felt the cheek she had just kissed. The silence that followed was very awkward and very unbearable. "So, should we keep heading down this tunnel?" Shinachiku asked. "Why yeah, let's do that." Sarada agreed. With that, the two kids continued on their mission as if nothing had happened, but neither noticed the smiles each was giving the other. "Shikadai Nara, where are you?" That loud, bellowing voice could only belong to one person, and the poor boy did not need to be told what kind of trouble he was in right now. Oh darn it. Shikadai thought, Dad and Shinachiku were absolutely right, moms can be really scary. Worst drag ever. The doors opened and in stormed the last group of people that the kids wanted to see: Tamari, Karu, Kurenai, and Might Guy. Tamari had agreed to let Inojin sleep over at their house while both of his parents were away on their mission, and Kurenai had accepted Hinata's request to watch the twins while she and Kiba were gone, since Hanabi, much to her regret, was too caught up in clan business to take them in at that time. Besides, if she could handle raising Mirai, then watching the twins for a little while wouldn't be so hard. Bagu's mother was also caught up in clan business, and so Kurenai agreed to bring him back to his home also. Guy, despite his age and handicap, was practically bawling with enthusiasm to watch over Barandan while both of his former pupils were gone. After all, it wasn't like Neji could do it. "Shikadai Nara," Tamari yelled, "you've got a lot of explaining to do, young man. Do you realize that you could have gotten you and all of your friends killed?" "Chacho, you're in deep trouble too, young lady," Karu said. "Okami, Sumi, your parents are going to be furious with you too when they find out what you've done," Kurenai said. "As will your father, your man, and your parents Inojin, and you father too, Chacho," Tamari added. "Way to go, Barandan," Guy said with an enthusiastic thumb up. "Your heroic actions today prove that the springtime of youth continues to bloom just as strongly within you as it does both with me and your father." All of the women in the room, Tsunade and Shizune included, instantly shot a very cold look in the old paraplegic's direction. Guy apologized as he rubbed the back of his head in embarrassment. "Mom," Shikadai said, "I know you're mad, but if we hadn't done what we did, Hanami might have died from your injuries." "He is correct, Mrs. Nara," Inojin agreed. "Lord Seventh's daughter was stuck all alone, bruised and beaten in that room beneath her home, and she was in dire condition. Had we not located her there, who knows what might have happened." "But I thought the Anbu had Hanami under their supervision?" Kurenai asked. "No, what they have is a shadow clone stand-in that was created with the last bit of chakra the girl had," Kakashi interrupted to explain. "And even then, there is no telling how long the clone is going to last for," Yamato added, assuming that it hasn't dissipated already. The three women were all looked at each other, taking in what they were just told. Finally, Karu spoke for them. "Alright, listen kids, we're all proud of you for what you did, and you're right, you did help save Hanami's life. But that doesn't change the fact that you all could have gotten yourselves killed as doing it. If Kakashi and the others hadn't found you, you all would have died and we would never have known about it." "That's exactly what Lady Tsunade said," Sumi acknowledged. "And she's right," Tamari confirmed. "In speaking of whom, where is Lady Tsunade?" "She's still healing Hanami," Konohamaru answered, pointing over to her location. The former cage was still hard at work healing the girl. Normally this would have been over by now, but the poor girl needed to put in some extra effort to get her healed fast. She was just about finished, thank goodness, but there was still no way that she could allow the pink-haired academy student to leave here without some much-needed rest. Besides, with Naruto, Sakura and Shinachiku all missing and with the girl apparently cut off from her own chakra, it was up to all of them to help keep her safe. For the three women, all three of them mothers, seeing Naruto and Sakura's daughter in such a state was a morbid sight. They all knew Hanami and she was such a sweet, adorable girl. They all knew how much her family loved her. Knowing that some of the village's own Anbu had done this to her was absolutely disgusting. Even worse, it gave all of them images of what could have been their own children's fates had their little rescue mission not gone well. "That poor girl ... and quat," Tamari said sadly. "Whoever did this should have their asses kicked," Karu exclaimed. Kurenai nodded. "I've known that girl's parents since they were children themselves. If they were here in the village now, this might have destroyed them." Guy looked particularly sad. "This may be the cruelest, most unyouthful sight I have witnessed in a long time." Kurenai and Guy then looked to their old friend Kakashi for an update. "Kakashi," Guy addressed his former rival, "you said that Hanami used the last bit of her chakra to create that shadow clone, so shouldn't her chakra reserves have replenished by now?" "I'm afraid not," Kakashi said. Her access to her chakra system has been severed by an unknown chemical agent that the Anbu injected into her bloodstream. What? Both Kurenai and Guy yelled, as did Tamari and Kaoru, who had been listening in. According to the kids, Yamato said, Hanami told them that it was some clear reddish serum injected into her with a syringe that somehow negated her chakra flow. The clone was the last thing she could do before it was lost completely. The adults all looked to each other, then turned back to Kakashi and the others. So what now? Kurenai asked. What do you mean? Kakashi asked, confused. She can't stay here forever, and without her chakra she'll be defenseless. Let's face it, she's still probably too weak to rely on taijutsu. Indeed, Guy agreed. Come to think of it, does anyone else remember that assassin that attacked on Naruto and Sakura's wedding day? It was like a light bulb suddenly went off inside all of the adults' minds as their eyes widened at what Guy was suggesting. Yes, I remember, Kakashi said. The assassin was nullifying all of our jutsu when we came within range of him, and the suspect committed suicide before we could get an explanation out of him. Yamato finished addressing the connection they all saw, the exact opposite of what happened to Hanami. Our chakra was useless against the assassin, while she can use her own chakra. Tsunade and Shizune, despite being in another part of the room helping the girl, were listening in on their conversation and were equally as stunned at what Guy had just implied. Milady, Shizune said, this serum that is inside Hanami's blood, would it be possible to extract it from her? Tsunade said nothing for a moment as she thought over it deeply. It's tricky, she answered. If the serum is indeed within Hanami's blood, then our only option would be to use the delicate illness extraction technique to purify the foreign agent from her system. But we don't have the medicinal fluid or the necessary water supply here to perform the procedure. And we cannot take her to the hospital as long as the Anbu thinks they have her, Shizune realized. Exactly. And quat. Tsunade let out a deep sigh. For right now, we should focus on getting her wounds healed, and then we can flesh out a plan. The serum's effects don't appear to be poisonous, so at least we're not on a timetable here. The facts on the table. The two medical ninjas resumed their work on their patient while the other adults continued to discuss their situation. The kids, on the other hand, they were listening in as best they could, but mostly they were trying to figure out whether or not they were still in trouble. Hanami herself could only lay still and let the influx of healing chakra cure her of her pain. But as laid there, one consistent thought occupied her brain. Mommy, Daddy, Oni-chan, where are you? And Apos. The Konoha 11 leapt from tree to tree. Naruto Uzumaki was in the lead with his wife Sakura, followed by their closest friends, all of whom had committed a serious act of treason against their own village just to secure their friends' safety and, hopefully, to help prove their innocence. And yet, despite everything they needed to stay focused on, there was not a single one of them that did not find themselves thinking about their children. Word would most assuredly spread back to the village that their parents were aiding a pair of wanted criminals. And what would that mean for the kids then? Either way, they all knew that their best option was to put those thoughts aside and get to Uzushio and corner Sasuke about what was going on and his supposed involvement in this Taka conspiracy. They all agreed on one thing. Sasuke may have been their friend, but if he had laid one finger on Naruto and Sakura's son, there'd be hell to pay. The group had already made it out of Land of Sound and was currently making a long trek across the entirety of the Land of Hot Water. It was their best course of action to avoid any paths that would take them into the Land of Fire, so traveling southeast straight through the neighboring land was the fastest way available to get to the shore overlooking the Land of Eddies. How much further do you think it is? Ino asked. Not sure, Shikamaru answered, maybe another 100 miles. Are you serious? Kiba shouted incredulously. Kiba, Shino remarked, you cannot just expect to make it on foot from the Land of Sound all the way to the eastern coast overlooking the ruins of the Land of Eddies in just a couple of hours. It doesn't matter. Naruto shouted. The sooner we get to the island, the sooner we can reach Shinachiku before anything happens. Assuming that nothing has happened to the boy already, Sai commented. Don't say that. Sakura screamed. My son is not going to die out there and we will find him. Understand? Sai didn't make any response, only stared at his old friend coldly for her outburst. I'm sorry, Sai, I'm just. Sakura couldn't even finish her sentence. Hey, we're all worried about him, Ino said to try to comfort her best friend. You guys must all hate us, Sakura said. Because of Naruto and me you've all committed treason and may never see your families again. There was a moment of silence. All, or at least most, of the couple's friends hung their heads in regret, until Hinata decided to speak up. Our children are all Jinan now, danger is a part of their lives. Whatever happens to us, someone will tell them what their parents have done and the good friends they risked everything for. They'll understand, I know it. The rest of the group smiled at Hinata's words, save for Shino, but hey, he rarely ever smiled about anything. Yeah, Hinata's right, Kiba agreed. The twins are nearly teens now and they can take care of themselves. It's not like they're dumb enough to believe any of Aragi's crap anyway. Bagu's a bright young man, like me, Shino said, he'll be fine. Brandon is a splendid young ninja that has total respect for you too, Lee said to both Naruto and Sakura. He will not be upset when he learns of what his parents have done. And quote. He finished his comment with one of his usual gigantic smiles. Yeah, our son's going to be fine, Tenten said. As usual, her overly vocal husband did most of the talking for her. Inojin will do fine too, Ino said. I suppose Shikadai is smart enough to keep himself out of trouble, Shikamaru reasoned. Personally, I'm more worried about what my wife's going to think of all of this. Man, this is a drag. Me too, Choji agreed. Chacho may be broken up, but I'm not looking forward to the ass kicking that Kuru's going to give me when this is all over. Well, she'll certainly have a very wide ass, Sai rudely remarked. Sai, Naruto shouted in exaggerated desperation. What did I tell you a long time ago? Oh right, sorry. Huh? Choji asked confused. A wide what? Oh never mind, Sai replied with an almost disturbing innocence. I just almost forgot that it is a taboo to say anything to you about your excessive weight, that's all. Everyone in the company instantly stopped in horror, Naruto and Shikamaru both slapping their own foreheads at what was to come. Ino, meanwhile, could only think of one reaction to her husband's incompetent mistake. Oh, shit. Back in the Hidden Sound Village, Odaku was finally coming to. The Aburame heir's bug bite and the Hyuga heiress's taijutsu had left him unconscious for several hours. He could not sense the target's chakra, meaning that they were far away by now. When he looked around, he found that his entire squad was missing as well. Odaku growled under his breath, traitors, backstabbers, every one of them. When I find them I'll drag the whole lot back to the village in body bags, to hell with orders. It's not like Lord Aragi will care anyway. He suddenly stopped. He could sense two strong chakras heading his way, two very strong chakras. Getting his footing, he channeled his returning chakra into his arm as it converted into electricity. Finally, the sources of the two chakra signatures came into view. Landing before him were two Leaf Village ninjas, each garbed in black and wearing masks covering their whole faces save for their eye areas. One was a tall man with striking blue eyes, the other a fit woman with lovely violet eyes. Odaku powered down his technique as soon as he realized who he was dealing with. Oh, it's you two. I guess Lord Aragi must have gotten worried and decided to call in some of our secret weapons. And quote. He huffed in arrogant pride. You know, normally I'd feel offended that he'd doubt the talents of a loyal operative such as me, but given what's happened, I suppose I wouldn't mind the help this time. The ninja pair only stared at him coldly, emotionlessly for a moment, enough to actually unnerve the jonin. Finally, the male ninja spoke. Where are Naruto and Sakura Uzumaki? They've both escaped, Odaku confessed. Aragi entrusted you with their capture, the female ninja stated. You shame him with your failure. It was not my fault. My squad turned on me. Aburame used some crazy bug to inject poison into me and that Hyuga bitch knocked E out with her gentle fist fight style. A jonin level onbu such as you should have been better prepared for any kind of treachery, the male ninja remarked. Perhaps your reputation has been exaggerated. Hey, Odaku yelled, I don't need to defend myself against a couple of deadbeats like you two. The two ninja only continued to stare at him coldly once again. Odaku figured he might as well get things moving before they lost the target's trail completely. Whatever, I suppose now we go after Lord Seventh, his wave, and all their traitorous friends? Yes, we will, said the female ninja. Odaku noticed that she took the male ninja's hand into her own when she said that. Do you happen to know the location to which Uzumaki and company are headed? Asked the male ninja. Yeah, Odaku answered, they said they were on their way to find their son. Days earlier the brat left the village on a mission to the Uzushiogakur. The female ninja's eyes widened slightly. The hidden whirlpool village? You mean the boy's mission to recover the chakra gem hidden within that village? Yeah, exactly. Was the boy traveling alone? The male ninja questioned. No, Uchiha took the boy with him. You mean Fugaku and Mikato's youngest son? Yeah, who else? Oh yeah, I forget how long you two have been gone. Still, I was sure you'd been caught up on that by now. You are certain that the targets are heading in that direction? The female ninja asked, as if they had not paid attention to what Odaku had just said. Most likely, they said so themselves. The two black-clad shinobi glanced at one another before they looked back to the onbu before them. Very well, Captain, the male ninja said, we will pursue the suspects immediately. Odaku triumphantly made a fist with his right hand and it to his heart as he stood straight and stiff, performing the salute of his hidden order. Hail Taka. It was the last action the onbu captain would ever do. No sooner was the gesture completed than the male ninja, with inhuman speeds that only Naruto himself could potentially rival, leapt over and cut Odaku's head clean off with a kunai. As the bloodied, severed head rolled onto the forest floor and the body fell limp. The mysterious masked ninja clothed in black each performed the same salute before heading east in search of their targets. Hail Taka! And quat. Chapter 18. Some assembly required. The Konoha 11 had taken a brief rest after running for so long, and they felt they needed to give Sai an opportunity to recuperate after the beating he got from Choji. Ino was able to use her own training in medical ninjutsu to heal her husband, but she still gave him a thorough verbal chastising for making such a thing. The rest of the group was resting their feet and some were delving into their food rations, including Choji. Alright, Naruto spoke up, we rest for another 15 minutes max, then we continue on and don't stop until we get to the eastern coast. I'm sure I already know the answer to this, but has everyone here been taught the walk on water exercise? Everyone nodded their heads and some even made a "are you kidding?" face at their orange-clad leader. That's what I thought. No offense, but I wanted to be sure that all of us could make it to the island. And what's the plan for when we get there? Asked Shino. Are we supposed to just let loose and attack Sasuke the instant we see him? No. Naruto shouted. Maybe, only if Shinachiku ''s ... and quat. Naruto could not even finish his own sentence. Naruto, Sakura put her arms around her husband. Neither one of us knows if Sasuke really is a part of this. You heard what that toad told us, Sakura. He knocked him out and asked us to meet while he keeps our son safe. Which means that Shina should still be fine when we get there, and if he is an ''T ... and quat. Now Sakura was the one that couldn't finish her own sentence. We'll find him, Sakura. Ino placed her hand on her best friend's shoulder. We all will. Sakura was able to find the strength to resist crying. Lord knows she has been doing far too much of that these past few days. That being the case, Shikamaru interrupted. Shino does still raise a valid point. Should the worst case scenario turn out to be true, then we will need some sort of plan to apprehend Sasuke when we find him. Naruto, Sakura, Sai said, I understand how both of you must be feeling, but I'm inclined to agree with Shikamaru. Sasuke is an extremely powerful ninja, powerful enough to rival even you. We cannot just show up there out of the blue and expect to overcome him without a plan. If all goes well, then we shouldn't need a plan, Naruto defended. Like I told you, we are going to try talking first, only then can Sakura and I get the answers that we need. Besides, I didn't go through 5 years of training and searching to bring my best friend back home just to kill him now. Naruto, Sai stated, I know that all of this must be confounding to you, but you cannot afford to let your loyalties to your son and your friend confound your judgment. Don't forget, the last time you and Sasuke fought it cost you your arm. Naruto clenched his bandaged, prosthetic right hand in irritation. So, I got it back, didn't I? And we both went above and beyond that day. Sasuke lost his arm too. Sakura was feeling overcome with regret. She could still remember the day that Naruto underwent his operation. Sakura could see Naruto in the waiting room of Konoha Hospital, currently undergoing the final stages of restoration following the destruction of the village by pain. The 17-year-old blonde Chunin was reading a magazine as he waited patiently for an important operation. He was forced to set the magazine in his lap as he could not hold it up to his face like a normal person would. Fortunately, that was going to change very soon. After the war and Sasuke's trial were over, Tsunade came to Naruto and offered both him and Sasuke the chance to regrow their forearms that were lost in their final battle at the Valley of the End. Naruto accepted, but Sasuke did not. He insisted that he needed to go see the world and begin his work to redeem his clan's name. They tried begging him to at least stay long enough for this, but the boy's mind was made up. Sakura remembered that day clearly. She had said goodbye to the man she had thought she loved for most of her life. She had even asked to join him on his quest, but he had refused her company once again. He told her that she needed to stay and figure out where her true feeling lied. What did he mean by that? She still did not know the answer. She remembered that right before Sasuke left again, he tapped her broad forehead and promised to come back, but did not state when. He parted ways with Naruto as well, the blonde at last returning his old, scarred leaf village headband from way back in their Jinan days. They exchanged a few last words, but Sakura was too far away to make out what they were. Besides, she felt that after all that's happened that this was a private conversation between her two teammates. Right now she watched him, sitting there struggling with even the simplest of tasks just because of what he'd lost, and she blamed herself for it. That missing arm was a constant reminder of their relationship. All of the sacrifice, all of the turmoil and grief and loss he went through just because of that stupid, selfish promise she asked of him when he was just a girl. Sakura thanked God that the boy didn't lose anything more. If either of them had died that day, she didn't know what she'd do. Oh well, no sense delaying things anymore. Naruto, Sakura called out, getting the boy's attention. Lady Tsunade will see you now. He put the magazine back and followed her down the halls to the operating room. There was an uncomfortable silence as they walked, and it was the knucklehead that had to break the tension. Hey, you okay, Sakura? Huh? Why yeah, I'm fine. Listen, Lady Tsunade did give you some of the details about this procedure, right? Yeah, why? Naruto, you're going to have to go easy on this new arm for a few days so that it can properly bond to your body. And the attachment process, it will be painful for you. I'm used to pain, Sakura. Don't act tough, you idiot. This is serious. The uncomfortable silence came back all over again. Sorry, Naruto. I shouldn't have yelled at you, again. It's okay, Sakura. I know it's going to hurt, but I can handle it. And quad. Naruto put on one of his signature goofy grins, especially if an awesome medical ninja like you is going to help out. Sakura wasn't smiling back. Actually, Naruto, I'm not going to be working on you today. What? Why? Lady Tsunade is concerned that, given everything that's happened, that I may be too emotionally compromised by our bond to stay focused on the procedure. That's bullshit. You're the most professional woman I know. Yeah, but I think she's right. Naruto, if this goes wrong, who knows what kind of damage it could do to your body. You could end up worse than you are now. You need a physician who can stay calm and collected, who can stay totally focused on what she's doing and not let her feelings get in the way of things. And quad. She stopped in the middle of, turning to the boy that followed behind her, her eyes filled with worry and regret. You mean a lot to me, Naruto, and I've caused you too much grief already. No, you haven't. Yes, I have. And don't you dare tell me I haven't. All I've ever been in a nuisance, always hitting and yelling at you, putting the burden of bringing Sasuke back on your shoulders, and now look at you. You lost an arm because of my selfishness. You almost threw away your career because of me. You forget that I wanted Sasuke back as badly as you did. I lost my arm and nearly lost my career because of my actions, not yours. Naruto let out a deep sigh. Look, if you're not going to be working on this, then I think I'll just go home. Sakura was dumbstruck. What? Sakura, I don't trust anyone else with this but you. Naruto. She was at a loss for words. You really mean that? Heck yeah. Now why don't we forget this whole argument happened and go tell Ba-chan that you're going to be helping with this? Naruto, you really want to trust me with this? Yeah, Sakura, I have complete and total faith in you, I always have. That was all that Sakura needed to hear. He had done it yet again. He had managed to give her the hope and inspiration that she needed. He believed in her even when she didn't believe in herself. Arigato, Naruto. They walked into the waiting room and made their case to Tsunade, who, after some discussion with Sakura herself, agreed to allow Sakura to assist in the operation. Naruto was lying on an operating table as Shizune came in with the regrown arm sealed in a box. He needed to be strapped down so keep him from thrashing around too much. He also needed to have his shirt off for the procedure, so Sakura was fighting a blush that crept onto her face. Tsunade noticed this, and while normally she would chastise one of her assistants for unprofessional behavior, this time she just smirked and carried on. So what happens now? Naruto asked. Do we just sew the arm on and that's it? No, Tsunade said. Actually, we're going to press the forearm against your stump and use ninjutsu to fuse them together. Your nerve endings and receptors should regenerate on their own. Sakura said. This might hurt? Yeah, it will sting really badly, like your own flesh and bones are getting welded together. And quad. She handed Naruto a folded towel. Here, bite down on this. Naruto put the towel in his mouth and waited for things to begin. Shizune, Tsunade called out, could you please bring the arm over here? The middle-aged woman brought the box over and opened it. She pulled out a pale, white forearm that was fully grown and ready to be applied to the young man's stump. Alright, Shizune, you hold the arm in place. Sakura, you and I will enact the fusing process. Hi, milady. Both women declared. It was time to begin. Shizune held the arm in place, making sure that the bone marrow and blood vessels were all properly aligned. The last thing that Naruto needed was to have his new arm misaligned and bend the wrong way. Tsunade and Sakura got into the position around Naruto's right side, their hands already glowing with green chakra. Alright, are you ready, Sakura? Yeah, I'm ready. And quad. The pinkette turned to her patient, no, her friend, and placed her hand on his chest. Are you sure you're ready, Naruto? I'm ready, Sakura, he said, even with the towel still in his mouth. With that, Sakura got back into position and she and her master harnessed all of their chakra and began using it to permanently bind the arm to Naruto. Ag! Naruto screamed in agony, his cries muffled by the towel in his mouth, as the burning singe of flesh and bone fusing together began. It was quite possibly the worst pain he ever went through. The experience was no less pleasant for Sakura. Hearing the boy scream in agony because of something she was contributing to, no, she needed to stay focused on her duty. Once it was over, everything would be back to normal again, she hoped. Layer by layer the muscles, bone marrow, arteries, veins and nerve endings were combining and the process came closer and closer to completion. "Sakura," Tsunade shouted, "keep focused, you're nearly finished on your section. At this rate the process should be done in less than an hour." That hour was perhaps the most excruciating of Naruto's life. The burning sting was unbearable. But there was nothing he could do about it. He needed to be strong. He could get through this. He was Naruto Uzumaki, hero of the Hidden Leaf Village. After a little over 45 minutes later, Naruto heard the words that were like a godsend to his ears. "Finished." Naruto slumped down on table totally exhausted and still in pain. His form was drenched in sweat and he was struggling to catch his breath. Shizune took the towel out of his mouth and the Jinchuriki let out a gasp. "Naruto." Sakura embraced her arms around his exhausted form and kept saying "I'm sorry" over and over again. "It's okay, Sakura, I'm feeling a lot better already." Quat. The boy put on the best smile he could to alleviate any undeserved guilt that the girl was feeling. "Shizune," Tsunade said as she observed her pupil and the closest thing she'll ever have to a son, "could you please remove Naruto's restraints?" Shizune did so and Naruto, with some minor assistance from Sakura and Shizune, sat up and looked at his new pale white right forearm. He stared at it as he moved his fingers and made a fist to test to see how well it worked. "How does it feel?" asked Sakura. "Feel? Can I have some ice please?" Naruto asked. Tsunade signaled for Shizune to go get some. She came back a moment later with a bag filled with ice, but neither she nor any of the other women knew what Naruto wanted it for. So they were half surprised when the boy stuck his entire forearm inside the bag of ice. "Naruto, what are you doing?" Tsunade asked in shock. "I need to check something." Quat. He held it there for a few moments until he could not bear it anymore and yanked his arm out. He smiled. "Cold, it actually feels cold. Ba-chan, I think this new arm is going to work just fine." The three women all smiled and even sighed in relief at their success. Sakura then got out some bandages and proceeded to wrap his teammate's arm up in them so neither he nor anyone else would be repulsed by the ugly white look of his new appendage. "Thank you Sakura, for everything," said Naruto as she finished wrapping up his arm, which he continued moving and bending to test the full movement capacity of. "You're welcome Naruto." Sakura was relieved at their job well done. Her closest friend and teammate was now whole again. As she looked at the new, bandaged arm made to replace the old one, she had expected that the guilt she felt whenever she saw the bear stump would now go away. It didn't, that was a long time ago. Her feelings of guilt were pretty much over with by now, thanks to 17 years of love shared between them. "So how about it Naruto?" asked Kiba. "What are we going to do once we make it to Sasuke?" Sakura turned to her husband as he let out a very heavy sigh. He knew that this was not an easy possibility for him to accept, but he needed to be an adult now, and a good leader. "Okay guys, gather around, here's the plan. And Quat. You really think this plan's going to work?" Suigetsu asked his leader. "We can only hope so," Sasuke answered. "I have faith in both of them. They will find the chakra gem, I know it." "They've been down there a while now," Karen noted with a clear and understandable trace of worry. "Sasuke, maybe we should go down there and look for them?" "No, this is their mission now, we cannot interfere." "But what if they've run out of air already? What if they've found something already?" "Karen, we need to trust in the kids now, they both know what they're doing. They're just children Sasuke. So were we once. The forest of death, bridge disputes, wars, these are no places to take or train children. And yet that is where I was forced to grow up. I was raised in the midst of danger all my youth, and so was Naruto." "Yeah, I mean what's the worst thing that can happen to them down there anyway?" asked Randamu. "Unless they come across some giant man-eating shark, or they find an ancient underwater city filled with vicious mer-people, or they find a kraken, or they get sucked into some mysterious triangular vortex that human beings fall into only to never return." "Shut up," Karen shouted. "Must you always put a damper on everything with your irritating comments?" "Yes. In all seriousness," Hugo interjected, "they have been down there for a while now. How can we know for sure that something hasn't happened?" "Because," Sasuke answered, "before they left I gave Sarada a microphone so we could stay in contact if necessary. She knows to send a signal if she or Shinachiku need any help, and she hasn't contacted me yet." Meaning she is either unable to respond, or unwilling to respond. Or it could simply mean that she had nothing to respond about yet. Or she could just be enjoying her alone time with the kid. And Quat. Everyone turned and scowled at Randamu, particularly her parents. "What? Kids their age have hormones, it's an innocent, beautiful thing. Let them have fun on their little treasure hunt. What wrong with a little preteen flirting on the side?" Achoo. Both of the kids sneezed at the exact same time as they continued down the dark and wet tunnel. "Bless you." They both said at the same time. It was weird. You suppose somebody's talking about us somewhere? Shinachiku asked. Oh please, you don't really believe in that myth, do you? Sarada rolled her eyes and Shinachiku just shrugged his shoulders. So how far do you think this tunnel goes? I don't know, Shinachiku said, but be prepared for anything. They kept walking, and walking, and walking, and they never found anything important, or ever remotely interesting. Well, this is getting boring. Shinachiku stated bluntly. No kidding, Sarada agreed. How much further does this tunnel go? I don't know, was all the boy could say. The pair continued their trek until they came to an empty room containing what looked like a ruined statue broken into 5 pieces. They also noticed a weapon lying on the ground in the far corner, a spear of some kind. Now what? Shinachiku asked. No one in particular. No one could have been down here for centuries, decades at least, Sarada said. So what could have happened to this statue? Must have happened a long time ago, I guess, Shinachiku figured. They noticed on the far wall behind the ruined statue was a door, a sealed door. Looks like that door is our way out of here, Sarada noted. The 2 kids went to the door and pushed with all of their might, Shinachiku even channeling his chakra-enhanced strength that he learned for his mother, but nothing they did seemed to be moving the door. Maybe we can find a keyhole or something? Shinachiku suggested. And what good would that do us? Sarada snapped. We don't have a key. Oh yeah, well, you got a better idea? The raven-haired girl looked around the room for something, anything, that might be a clue, then she noticed the spear. Let's try using that spear over there to pry the door open. The kids ran over to the corner of the room and grabbed the spear. It was rather large and heavy, so it took both of them to lift it. They brought it over to the sealed door and jabbed one of the pointed ends into the crevice. Okay, on the count of 3, Sarada ordered. 1, 2, 3. The 2 Genin grunted and heaved as they pushed and pulled the spear with all of their might, hoping that their effort would force the door to open itself. But after trying for 15 minutes solid, the door still remained sealed completely shut. Damn it. Shinachiku cursed, this isn't working. There's got to be something here we're not seeing, Sarada theorized. Maybe this is all some sort of puzzle? Something went off in Shinachiku's brain as soon as she said that. Puzzle? He looked back at the ruined statue in the center of the room, broken into 5 parts, the base that was still attacked to the floor, an upper torso, 2 arms, and the head. The pieces were remarkably whole in how their condition was lying on the floor. Wait a minute, he told Sarada as he walked over and started collecting pieces of the statue. What are you doing? Sarada asked. You said that this might be some sort of puzzle. Well, I'm thinking I just found it. He first gathered the torso piece and set it on top of the base section. Then he grabbed one of the arms and put it in its proper place, locking it in place because of a stone protrusion where the joint would be that fit snugly into the other piece of the statue. He grabbed the other arm and attached it the same way. He then grabbed the head section and set it on top of the statue. The piece was complete, the statue was whole, and yet the door still did not open. What the hell? Shinachiku said to no one. I don't get it. What's missing? Sarada was impressed with Shinachiku's perception to the hidden puzzle, but found her mind wandering as she herself searched for a missing piece of the puzzle, whatever that was. And then she saw it, the pose that the statue was in. It looked like it was holding something in its hand that it was about to throw. Shinachiku, Sarada shouted, come over here and help me with this. She grabbed one end of the spear and Shinachiku, quickly catching on, ran over to grab the other end. Together, they both carried the heavy spear over to the statue and, with great care, set it into place in the statue's hand. And then it finally happened. The floor began to rumble and shake, sounds of stone scrapping against stone echoed throughout the room, and looking at the far wall, they both could see the stone door finally opening up. After the door opened, they kids looked at each other and smiled. Good thinking with the statue, Shinachiku, Sarada complimented. Good thinking with the spear, Sarada, Shinachiku complimented right back. With that, the 2 kids went through the door to continue their quest to the chakra gem that lay at the end of the tunnel. Aragi Ramono sat within his office signing the typical contracts and activity approvals that comes with being Hokage. He wasn't feeling particularly pleased with all of this work, nor was he feeling annoyed by it. It was just a usual day. His focus was interrupted by an Anbu Black Sop entering his office. Forgive us, Lord Hokage. What is the meaning of this? Aragi demanded. We have a possible emergency, sir. It concerns the 7th's daughter. What about her? We've kept her under our constant supervision for days as ordered, but something has gone wrong. Aragi scowled. What do you mean? The girl started convulsing and getting weak, and then she dissipated in a puff of smoke. Now Aragi was alarmed. A substitution? No, my lord, we believe she was a shadow clone the whole time. Damn it. Aragi contemplated. The girl must have used the last of her chakra to create the clone as a decoy before the serum took full effect. Alright. Aragi ordered the Anbu, send word to the Anbu to do a search and recovery for the girl. Find her at all costs. Arrest anyone harboring her under charges of conspiracy. Start by investigating my assistant. Lady Shizune, sir? The Anbu asked in surprise. Hi, she may have heard more than she needs to know. Let's leave it at that. She had not returned from her lunch break, which was hours ago, so start by tracking her steps. Bring her in and anyone else that may be harboring the girl. Hi, my lord. The Anbu said as he prepared to leave. Wait. Aragi ordered, stopping the Anbu before he left the office. If Shizune really has heard too much, then she most likely went to Tsunade first. And quat. Aragi contemplated for a moment. Take another one of our special agents with you in preparation for her involvement. My lord, do you mean? Yes, summon the Sanin. And quat. Chapter 19, Dark Reunions, Sunagakur, the village hidden in the sand, one of the 5 great shinobi villages and the most powerful village in the Land of Wind. This village did not have a flawless history, but they were nevertheless widely regarded for their strength, skill, and for producing some of the most powerful shinobi in the world. One such shinobi is their current leader, the 5th Kazekage. He is a man in his 30s with somewhat shorter stature, auburn hair, fair skin, pale blue-green eyes surrounded by thick black rings similar to a tanuki, and the kanji symbol for love carved into the side of his head. He wears a red uniform, and at his side is strapped a gourd filled with living sand. Yes, living sand. This shinobi was born prematurely at the cost of his mother's life, but with her dying breath the mother transferred her own power into the sand, so that it would spring from the gourd to serve and protect her son in times of crisis. This shinobi was a former mass murderer turned reformed hero, leader of the Hidden Sand Village, regional commander and 4th Division leader during the 4th Great Shinobi War, and the former Jinchuriki of Shukaku, the one-tailed tanuki. His name, Gaara of the Desert. Despite the sins of his youth, Gaara had committed himself to redeeming his life and striving to become a true hero to his people, and he owed it all to one man, his closest friend, Naruto Uzumaki. Ever since they first met, and fought, during Orochimaru's attack on Konohagakure back when they were mere genin taking the Chunin exams, Naruto's determination, his selflessness, and the strength he draws from others even after living a life so similar to his own, has motivated him unlike anything else had before. It was Naruto's desire to one day become Hokage that motivated Gaara to take up his father's former post as Kazekage. It was Naruto that got him to care for and want to protect others, starting with reforging his bonds with his older brother and sister. And it was Naruto that was his first person he could remember in a long time that was willing to be his friend, ever after all the terrible things he had done, including nearly killing Naruto's friend Rock Lee as well as the young pink-haired girl that would one day become Naruto's wife. Yeah, Gaara wasn't particularly proud of those things. Bottom line, Naruto was Gaara's closest friend and he would do anything to help him. Hell, if it wasn't for Gaara's quick actions in taking him to Sakura and the 4th Hokage during the war, Naruto wouldn't be alive today, but instead a victim of the same fate that once claimed him. Gaara never told anyone this, but the only reason he was still alive today was because of the self-sacrifice made by Lady Chiyo, and if saving Naruto's life had required him to make the same sacrifice, he would. It was for all of these reasons that Gaara refused to believe the stories that were coming out of the Hidden Leaf Village. Naruto and Sakura as wanted fugitives for harboring top-secret information from their village? It didn't make any sense. Naruto was his best friend, he had been a guest of honor at their wedding, he had been a guest at his house, there was no possibility that any of this was true. But that just left plenty of unanswered questions. What was really going on? Why were they on the run? And most importantly, what could Gaara do to help them? Naruto, thought the Kazekage as he sat at his desk filing his usual paperwork, why didn't you and Sakura come to me? I could have given you both refuge while we figured this out. Gaara sighed, just be careful old friend. There was a knock on the door to Gaara's office. Come in. The door opened to reveal an adult male in his late 30s, garbed in the standard attire of the Sand Village shinobi, draped over with a black cloak and hood. On the man's face were a series of violet markings, face paint, which gave away the man's identity even to those who could not recognize his face as instantly as Gaara could. What can I do for you, Kankuro? Gaara asked. Hey little bro, the puppet master said casually, I wanted to inform you that Councilman Aragi from Konoha has called a cage summit to discuss a proposal he would like to share with all of us. What kind of proposal? He wouldn't say exactly, only that it involves securing something that in the wrong hands could spell disaster for any of the hidden villages. And who is Councilman Aragi to call for such a meeting? Gaara asked with a singe of scorn in his usually monotone voice. He is no cage himself, and with Naruto currently on the run Kankuro shouted, you need to put that bias aside for now. Look, I know that he's your friend hell, If not for him you wouldn't be who you are now, and I wouldn't even be alive if not for his wife, but we still need to consider that there may be more going on than what we know. Do you mean to tell me that you believe in these rumors, Kankuro? No, of course I don't. I'm just saying. Kankuro took a deep sigh. The other 3 Kijis, they're not as loyal and trusting of Naruto as you are, Gaara. They like him, yes, but none of them have gone through as much with him as you have. They may take offense if you try defending a criminal. You mean like the reaction Naruto received for defending Uchiha? Yes, what I'm trying to say is, defend Naruto if you must, but just don't take anything anyone says too personally, okay? Gaara merely stared at his brother coldly before he gave his answer. I'll consider it. Well, I guess that's about all I can expect, Kankuro thought. By the way, has Tsunako gotten out of school yet? Gaara asked. No, she still has a few hours before she gets out. Why? I want you to do me a favor, Kankuro. When her training gets out, tell her to come to my office. Tell her that her father has a favor he wants to ask of her. In the underground tunnel beneath the seas of the land of whirlpools, Shinachiku Uzumaki and Sarada Uchiha continued their trek toward their prize. They had already solved one puzzle that stood in the way of them and the chakra gem. There was no telling whether or not they would find another. Soon enough they came to another room, this time a long, but very narrow chamber, empty save for a single door on the far side, and what appeared to be a set of 3 keys hanging individually next to the door. Well, Shinachiku said, I guess we've got to use one of these keys to go any further. Obviously, Sarada replied, but which one? The bifocaled girl looked at the keys more closely and noticed something curious. And why are they labeled A, C and? Shinachiku held his arms up and shrugged his shoulders. Don't look at me. Sarada looked at the keys for any possible tell which was the correct one, or to why the B key was missing. Try as she might, she could not think of anything. I think we're going to have to wing this one, she said. Let's try it. She grabbed the key labeled from the wall and inserted it into the keyhole, then turned the key. The door did not open. Instead, they could hear a single note echo through the room for just a moment, followed by 2 gigantic spinning blades coming out of the walls directly at them. Look out! Shinachiku yelled. The boy grabbed the girl by her shirt and quickly threw her against the left-hand wall just before the 2 blades made contact and got themselves stuck into the wall where the door was. What the hell was that? Shinachiku yelled. Clearly it was a booby trap set up to keep anyone from reaching the gem, Sarada acknowledged. If we had been a millisecond shorter we both could have been chopped in half. Our only chance is to pick the correct key to open the door. But which one is it? There has got to be more to this puzzle that we're not seeing. As Sarada stood there in deep thought before she made any more movements, Shinachiku was putting his brain to work also. 3 keys, A, C and D apostrophe ... no B key. That key causes 2 razor sharp blades to shoot out at us. He then remembered that note that they heard before the blades came out. 2 razor sharp blades, 2 sharps, the key of D. Wait a minute, I think I've got it. As Shinachiku was putting things together, Sarada was reaching for another key. Let's try A this time. No wait, Shinachiku yelled at the top of his voice as he grabbed her wrist, forcing her to drop the key onto the floor. Shinachiku, what are you doing? Sarada asked as she struggled to break free of his grip. Sarada, if you turn that key then next time it'll be 3 blades. What? But how do you? Shinachiku pulled the last remaining key from the wall and offered it to the raven-haired Kunoichi. It's the C key, trust me. Sarada looked at him curiously for a moment, but then took the key and put it inside the keyhole. Still, both kids did make sure to press themselves against the wall and were prepared to get out of the way to what free space was left in case this didn't work. Taking a deep breath, Sarada turned the key. There was another note heard throughout the room, but this time the door opened. Both kids let out a sigh of relief as Sarada spoke. Okay Shina, how did you guess that the C key was the right one? That note that we heard before those blades came out tipped me off. This whole thing is a musical puzzle. A musical puzzle? Yeah, think about it. The key of T had 2 sharps, while the key of A has 3 but the key of C has no sharps. Sarada finished Shinichiku's sentence in understanding. Exactly, that also why there's no B key, because the key of B doesn't exist, only the key of B flat. Wow, I'm impressed Shinichiku. And quat. Sarada complimented. 2 puzzles in a row, you're pretty smart, just like Aunt Sakura. The boy blushed at her compliment. Thanks. Suddenly the girl got a sly smirk on her face as she got an idea. Say, in speaking of music, how about we make this thing a bit more interesting? The boy's blush disappeared in confusion. What do you mean? How about if we make it out of here alive? You have to sing to me with that gorgeous voice of yours. Any song I choose, however many I choose. What? Why would I agree to that? Consider it my consolation for not telling your parents about those dirty magazines I found under your bed. What? How the hell do you know I've seen your room? Remember? I peeked under your bed while you were off going to the bathroom. And quat. Sarada's smirk got even wider and more evil. Can't imagine what a early teen like you might have been doing in the bathroom all by yourself. Sarada. The poor boy was completely, utterly embarrassed. Please don't tell anyone. If my mom found out about that collection, she'd murder me. So, do we have a deal? Shinachiku scowled in utter defeat, but he ultimately shook the girl's hand. Deal. Sarada smiled in glee. She loved hearing Shina sing, and now she was going to get treated to her own private concert. Great, she relied in a happy mood. Now let's keep moving. As they both went through the now open door down yet another tunnel, something else occurred to Shinachiku. Hey Sarada? Yeah? No offense, but, why were you looking under my bed for in the first place? Now it was Sarada's turn to stop dead in her tracks and blush in embarrassment. No reason. And quat. Knock. There was a knock on the safe house where the shinobi allies were currently located. I'll go check it. Kakashi declared. The former copy ninja walked over to the door to find out who was there. He opened it only slightly. Hello? On the other side of the door was a squadron of Anbu, all of whom had a serious demeanor on their faces as they looked back at the former cage. Lord Sixth, one of the Anbu addressed, what are you doing here, sir? I was investigating a possible theft from a local jewelry store. I tracked the suspect to this location. The Anbu scolded at the silver-haired old man. You're a terrible liar, Kakashi-sensei. I've been told that a lot, but this time I insist that it is the truth. But in any case, how may I help you gentlemen? Councilman Aragi has us searching for Lady Shizune. She has not returned from her lunch break and Lord Hokage has some important duties for her to complete. Lord Hokage? Kakashi questioned. Forgive me, but as I understood it, Lord Aragi was only interim Hokage until Naruto has been cleared of any wrongdoing? Lord Sixth, I realize that Lord Seventh was your student, but you need to learn to accept the truth that Naruto is a fugitive now. He and his wife are traitors to our entire village. Watch your mouth. It was not Kakashi that made that outburst. Walking up to the door, possessed by an anger he momentarily could not control, was Konohamaru Sarutobi. Sarutobi, one of the Anbu addressed, why are you here as well? Kakashi and I were together when we witnessed the thief make his escape and we tracked the suspect here together, Konohamaru lied. The Anbu merely glanced at one another before looking back to the Jonin and the retired cage. Aragi had given us orders to search the village for Lady Shizune's whereabouts, one of the Anbu stated. May we please step inside to search the premises? That is not a wise idea, Kakashi answered. This location is still under our investigation and any outside interference may allow the suspect to escape. Step aside, Kakashi, that's the interim Hokage's orders. Kakashi and Konohamaru glanced at one another before they stepped aside to allow the Anbu into the safe house. Well, Kakashi, one of the Anbu said, it seems that we have found a criminal here after all. Their target, Shizune, was indeed there, along with Lady Tsunade, Kurenai, Might Guy, Captain Yamato, Tamari and Kairo were all gathered in the safe house. Those, however, were the only people left to their visible eyes. Lady Shizune, one of the Anbu addressed, under orders from Councilman Aragi, you, Lady Tsunade, and everyone else here are hereby under arrest for conspiracy against the Hidden Leaf Village. What? Tsunade yelled. What gives you the right? Lord Aragi gives us the right. Lord Seventh's daughter has disappeared from our protective custody and we have reason to believe that Shizune may be involved. As such we are under orders to arrest her and any accomplices should we find her. And quat. The Anbu turned to Shizune directly. Where is the girl? I had nothing to do with it, I swear. Shizune lied. I'm sorry if I didn't come back from lunch in time, I just got distracted today. Let me explain to Aragi. I'm sure we're sorry miss, but we're under orders. The Anbu made a move to arrest Shizune, until a chakra-enhanced fist slammed into the ground, causing a minor trembler. Touch her, or any of us, and I'll destroy all of you, Tsunade declared with deadly seriousness. Stand down, Tsunade. That command came from a mysterious figure that made his way up to the front of the group. The figure had a deep, masculine voice, a bulky frame and tall height, but his identity was completely disguised but a dark cloak and hood. Tsunade did stop, but his was not because of the man's physique, but because of his voice. The man then removed his hood to reveal his face. It shocked everyone in the room. Why you ... and quat? Tsunade said in horror, tears of sadness streaming down her face. We can't just leave them, Chacho exclaimed, my mom's back there. So is mine, Chacho, Shikadai snapped back, but it wasn't up to us. Lady Tsunade ordered us to take Hanami and sneak out of there before anyone spotted us. The adults all agreed to buy us some time. But what about them? Okami gruffed. They could get arrested because of us. Or worse, they could get killed. The former of the two is the more likely possibility, Inojin stated. Still, Lady Tsunade made it clear to us that getting Hanami to safety was our top priority. Going back now to help the adults, thus jeopardizing Hanami's safety, would be illogical. Illogical? My god. We're talking about our parents and senseis facing arrest or worse, and the pale-faced blonde robot here is talking about logic. You cold-blooded, ignorant, inhuman Onii-chan, Suki yelled to get her brother's attention. Don't go off on Inojin please? He's just saying the truth. Still, a little bit more tact would have been nice, Bagu remarked. Either way, we need to get Hanami somewhere safe, Shikadai stated. Her wounds may be healed, but she's still weak and her chakra is still blocked. Precisely. Barandon proclaimed. And fear not my friends, the adults will most assuredly find a way out of their precarious situation and all will be made right soon enough. I hope you're right Barandon, Shikadai said, I hope you're right. Taka, the original Taka, were watching the waters of the hidden whirlpool village intently, waiting for any contact from the two children. So far they have not heard anything, and even Sasuke had to admit that he was starting to feel uneasy. I say we go down there and look for them, Karen insisted. I told you Karen, Sasuke stated. We need to let the children handle this. They'll be fine. You know, most parents aren't so willing to just send their kids down into a watery abyss in search of something that they don't even know what it looks like, Suigetsu stated. No, but to be perfectly frank, Sasuke isn't like most fathers, Hugo retorted. I keep telling you guys, Randamu interrupted, those kids aren't staying in touch because they're too busy getting in some nookie time, if you know what I mean. Karen groaned in complete irritation. Hey, that's my daughter and godson you're talking about, pervert. Why would you even think like that? Hey, if you can't stand the heat, pull out of the oven. Ha, get it? Pull out? It's a play on words. Ha 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 ha, I crack myself up. Suigetsu put his head in his hands. I hate you. Randamu merely brushed it off as a compliment. Aw shucks, I hate you too. But then, Randamu looked out toward the water again and noticed something. Hey guys, I know you all hate me and I love y'all for it. But it looks like two people in cloaks are running across the ocean right towards the island. Sasuke, Karen, and the other two all immediately snapped to attention and looked over the ocean. Sure enough, Randamu was right. Sasuke smirked. Good, they made it. Karen turned to her husband. They're probably going to be very angry with you, you know that right? Yeah, I know, and I probably deserve whatever they have to say. But it's time for them to know the truth, and I have to own up for my own lies and mistakes. Naruto and Sakura kept running closer and closer to the island. They must have been at it for hours straight if not days, but it was as if some all-motivating force were drawing them closer and closer to their destination. No, that back, everyone knew exactly what, or rather who, was driving to two parents to push themselves to their limits. Finally, eventually, they both made it to the shore of the island. Sakura needed to catch her breath for just a moment, while Naruto, thanks to his legendary Jinchuriki stamina, seemed ready to go right away. The blonde-haired man turned to his wife. You alright Sakura? Yeah, the pink-haired woman said, just give me a second and quat. She took a deep breath and recomposed herself. Okay, let's go. The couple, hand in hand, walked towards the center of the island. Naruto noticed her husband's expressions as they observed the ruined buildings and monuments of the former Uzumaki clan across the landscape, evidence of what had been a former genocide. Naruto? Sakura voiced her worry. Naruto was silent for a moment as they walked. When I met my mother in my own mindscape, she told me about what happened here, but to actually see it, for the first time in my life, it's weird. I feel, at home here, like this is where I belong and like it's some place I should have come to long before now. I feel like I can get back in touch with a missing part of my life here, but at the same time, I hate this place. All this destruction, all this death. It's like this whole island is haunted by the ghosts of my mother's clan. Naruto turned to his wife. I guess that must be hard for someone to understand. Sakura took in everything Naruto just said and squeezed his hand tighter. No, Naruto, that's not hard to understand at all. Maybe one day we could return here, but for now, let's just do what we came here to do and leave, Naruto stated, to which Sakura nodded her head in agreement. And so they kept walking, further and further into the island until they came to the cliff overlooking the sea. There he was, standing there all by himself. Sasuke Uchiha, survivor of the Uchiha clan massacre, former missing nin of Konohagakure and S-class criminal to the entire ninja world, and Naruto's best friend. Naruto, Sakura, the Uchiha greeted coldly. Sasuke, the Uzumaki and his wife greeted back. There was a tense silence for what must have been at least 10 seconds, but it felt far longer. It was Sasuke who was the first to break the silence. I see that the toad found you and delivered the message as I instructed. It was actually Sakura who replied first. Yeah, Shinachiku toad summon found us all right. Funny how you knew to look for us in the land of sound of all places. It was an educated guess of where to look first, given your situation right now. So you know about what's been happening in the village after all? Naruto questioned suspiciously. I do. That's why I wanted both of you here. So you know who's responsible for it too, right? Sasuke answered with just a single word, Taka. There was another tense silence, so quiet that the wind could be heard as clearly as an owl's hooting during a bleak, starry evening. Finally, after a tense moment of silence where neither of the three former teammates so much as blinked, Naruto finally spoke up once again. Before I start grilling you about that, and before I decide whether I should rip your heart out, Sakura and I have something else we need to ask you first. Fine, what is it? Sasuke never got to finish his question as in a moment of speed he never would have expected from her. His former fangirl and female teammate ran up to him and delivered a chakra-enhanced punch to his face that instantly knocked the Uchiha down for the count and formed a small crater in the earth. Sakura grabbed Sasuke by the cloak and yelled with a fury that he had never seen before, "Where's my son?" Sasuke had not recovered from the punch quick enough to respond, so Sakura yelled again, "Answer me, bastard. What have you done with Shinachiku?" She was forced to let go of Sasuke, however, as she felt some other force pulling her away by the throat, causing her to gag. She realized that she was being gripped by some sort of glowing golden chains clearly forged out of chakra. "Stay away from my husband, Sakura," said a female voice, out of a hiding place that the chains were coming from emerged. "Karen?" Naruto cried out in shock. "Naruto, listen to me." Karen pleaded, "We know you're both angry, but this isn't what you're thinking it is." "We?" Naruto asked in confusion. Out of the same hiding spot emerged three more people. Suigetsu Hozuki, swordsman of the mist, and Hugo, a man from an unknown clan that was prone to fits of monstrous rage, both of whom Naruto recognized as members of Sasuke's former team, and there was also a third guy dressed in a red and black outfit and mask that neither he nor Sakura had ever seen before. OMG. It's Naruto Uzumaki. The Naruto Uzumaki. Sir, I'm a huge fan. Seriously. The stranger pulled out a large hardcover book for absolutely nowhere. Any chance I can get you to autograph my limited hardcover collector's edition of your book? Please. Naruto was totally freaked out by this masked fanboy, whoever he was, but he ignored him to stay focused on what really mattered right now. "Sasuke," Naruto shouted, "tell your wife to get her chakra chains off of my wife right now, or else." Sasuke, who was finally coming to after the blow Sakura had given him, stood back up and signaled for Karen to let go. Karen did, and the adamantine attacking chains retracted, letting Sakura go as she quickly took in a gasp of breath and re-straightened herself. She walked back to her husband and got into a battle stance, and Karen and the rest of Sasuke's team stood beside him. "I probably deserved that punch," Sasuke admitted, "but now that the tension's out of the way, why don't we all get down to talking?" "Fine. And quat," Sakura said flatly. "Actually, before we do, one question. What was the or else you were talking about, Dobi?" Naruto smirked. "Well, let's just say that you're not the only one who decided to come here with reinforcements." The seventh Hokage snapped his fingers and almost instantaneously 9 other leaf ninja leapt to their leader's side, almost as if they had teleported. Sasuke recognized every one of them well. Sai, Ino Yamanaka, Shikamaru Nara, Choji Akimichi, Hinata Hyuga, Kiba Inuzuka, Shino Aburame, Rock Lee, and Tenten. All of them were staring coldly into the one-armed, raven-haired Uchiha's eyes. "Now, as my wife asked you before," Naruto said before his entire body became engulfed in chakra that resembled golden flames with intricate black symbols running across his form, "Where the hell is my son?" Randamu, who was looking at all of this, could only think of one thing to say as he turned his head to face an invisible camera. "Well, that escalated quickly, didn't it?" and quat. Chapter 20, Love and Rage. "Where is Shinachiku, Sasuke?" demanded Naruto, now in his 9 tails chakra mode, looking like his whole body was engulfed in golden flames. "He's down there," Sasuke pointed over to the ocean, underneath the sea, searching for the chakra gem. "What?" Sakura shouted at the top of her lungs. "We concluded that was where the gem was located. Don't worry, he didn't go down there alone." "Oh really?" Naruto scowled. "Who's with him?" "Our daughter," Karen answered for Sasuke. "What?" Sakura yelled again, this time along with Naruto. "You sent your own daughter to a watery grave just for some damn glowing stone?" Kiba yelled in fury. "Her blood was just as necessary to unseal it as much as Shinachiku's was," Sasuke said. "And what business is it of yours anyway, Kiba? Why are any of you here?" "Don't talk to my husband that way," Hinata said sternly. "We're all here because we're loyal to our friends." Something we're not sure you are, Shikamaru added rudely. Excuse me? Sasuke, I've been suspicious of you ever since that assassin attacked at Naruto and Sakura's wedding. I knew you were hiding something, and when you came back with this damn mission and wanted to take Shinachiku with you. And now we find out that Taka has infiltrated the village. You've apparently lied about you and your wife breaking up, and you've sent your own daughter underwater for this stupid gem. You've got some things to explain. There's not much I can say that Shikamaru hasn't said just now, Shino stated. I can't believe I ever had a thing for you, Ino said with a surprising amount of venom in her voice. Sasuke, we all came here for answers. Naruto and Sakura came here for their son first and foremost, Sai said. But make no mistake, we are all willing to do what is necessary to save the world from this Taka conspiracy. Sasuke looked at Naruto with piqued curiosity. Really? Well, then you've changed, Naruto. When we were younger you were obsessed with bringing me back home, no matter how many people told you I was beyond hope. Naruto didn't say anything for a few seconds, only stared at the one-armed Uchiha not blinking. Then he finally spoke. Sasuke, I did what I did back then because you're my friend, my brother. I respected you, I wanted to be like you. You, Sakura, Kakashi-sensei, Iruka-sensei, you guys were the only family I had. I cherished my bonds and would do anything to maintain them. He turned to his wife, even if it meant maybe sacrificing my own happiness. Sakura looked down in regret of her old life, but got over it quick as she scowled at Sasuke. But the difference, Sasuke, Naruto continued, is that I'm a father now, and if I am forced to make a choice between my son and my best friend, then I choose my son. I understand that, Sasuke stated, and I would do anything for my daughter, like send Sarada down to a watery grave, Ino yelled. I already explained that. Her point still stands. Choji added. Indeed, Lee added. Your actions and desire to keep secrets from your closest friends has cast a profoundly unyouthful aura around you, Sasuke. Sasuke groaned. Lee, do us all a favor and shut your mouth for once. Nobody wants to hear your damn speeches about youth anymore. You're not getting it, Sasuke. Kenten retorted, you're in no position to be making demands right now. Sasuke. Sakura interrupted, I just have one more question. Did you know that Taka had infiltrated the village when you came to us about taking our son? Sasuke said nothing for several seconds. While he had no visible expression on his face, they could clearly tell that he was struggling with getting his answer out. Until, finally, he gave his one-word answer, yes. Naruto's golden chakra intensified and Sakura released her seal, allowing lines glowing with violet chakra to appear on her face. You guys, Sasuke said in what seemed like desperation, this is not what you're thinking, I swear. I brought you both here so I could explain the truth to both of you, so please, just listen to me. We listened to you last time, Sasuke, Naruto shouted, and because of that our son and your daughter are both on the ocean floor right now. Our daughter is missing. A shadow sect of lunatics have taken over all 5 of the great shinobi villages beneath our notice, and Sakura and I are wanted criminals. No, Sasuke. Sakura added, Naruto and I came here to give you the chance to explain yourself, but after everything you just admitted, I think the time for talking is done. You guys, Karen interjected, you're both being consumed by blind rage right now. You both need to calm down and just let us explain the truth. Yeah, geez, you too. Suigetsu added, way to escalate things way too quickly, and I thought that all of you were supposed to be friends here. True, Hugo noted, but after everything they've been through and with their son dead for all they know, it's understandable why they're both unstable right now. Fight, 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 fight. Randamu chanted in excitement. He only stopped to turn to some invisible audience, as if legions of people were scowling at him. What? I can't be the only person out there who wants to see this. Shinachiku and Sarada continued walking down the tunnel, neither having any idea what else they could expect, or how many of these challenges they were going to have to pass just to get to the chakra gem. But suddenly, Shinachiku stopped dead in his tracks. Shina, what's wrong? Sarada asked. Something was severely preoccupying the boy's mind. He looked as if he was having some vision of something terrible. I don't know why ... and quad. Shinachiku finally said, but I've got this feeling that something is seriously wrong up there. Up where? Sarada asked in confusion. Up above the surface, with your parents and the others, and I think somebody else has joined them. Who? I think it's my mom and dad. What? How do you know that? I don't know, I've just got this weird feeling, that's all. I can't explain it. Sarada could only stare at the blonde-haired boy for a few moments before she remembered something. Maybe now's a good time to radio my dad. Huh? What are you talking about? Sarada pulled down her collar to expose a microphone necklace she wore around her neck. My dad gave me this so we could stay in contact while we were down here. Why didn't you tell me about that before? I thought you already knew. No, your dad must have forgotten to fill me in on that part. And quat. Shinachiku didn't hide the annoyance in his voice as he said that. Sarada tried fiddling with the mic. Dad, do you copy? It's Sarada, come in. Come in. There was nothing but static on the other line. I guess we're so deep underwater that it's distorting the reception, Shinachiku surmised. Sarada merely brushed it off. Whatever, I guess we're both on our own now. Let's just keep moving. The children continued walking, and walking, and walking. The floor was starting to slant a bit, gradually forming an increasingly steeper slope. The slope kept getting steeper and steeper, until suddenly it got so steep that they both started sliding uncontrollably, it happening so suddenly that neither of them were prepared to use their chakra to steady their support to avoid it. The kids kept sliding and falling, unable to stop themselves, until finally they both came to the end of the tunnel, and Shinachiku nearly fell over into a seemingly endless abyss. Whoa! Sarada shouted as she instinctively grabbed the boy's coat and pulled him back, only steadying herself by grabbing an open crevice in the wall. Shinachiku stared at the underground chasm, and the fate that had very nearly claimed him. Thank you, he said to the raven-haired girl. Don't mention it. Sarada responded. Besides, you still owe me a private concert at the end of this. He pulled the boy back up with all of her strength, fearing that she may dislocate her own shoulder in doing so, and in fact she nearly did. When Shinachiku was back up again, he pumped chakra into his feet to allow himself to stand upright, just as Sarada was now dong, but he also noticed the girl grabbing her own shoulder. Oh God, I'm sorry, I didn't want you hurting yourself just for me. It's alright Shina, I can take it. Shinachiku wasn't convinced. Move your hand. What? Trust me, move your hand. Sarada decided to trust the boy and moved her arm from her aching shoulder. Shinichiku's own hand started glowing with green chakra and he began channeling it into the girl's shoulder. How did I learn from my mom, the best healer there is? Of course I'm nowhere close to her level, but I think I'm more than capable of helping you with this. Within moments, the girl's shoulder was restored to perfect working order. After moving her arm around several times, she looked to the boy and with an uncharacteristically sincere smile for anyone from her clan, she said to the boy, thank you. Shinachiku merely said, don't mention it, and no, you haven't earned that private concert yet. The two children looked over the ledge to the crevice below. There was an opening on the other side, several yards down. Looks like that opening is our only way out of here, Sarada pointed out. That's pretty far, Shinachiku said. We could walk straight down the ledge with our chakra, but that leaves the problem of getting to the other side. It's too far to just leap to the opposite wall. Yeah, you've got a point. As they weighed their options, some of the rocky ledge they were standing on broke off and fell into the abyss. But what Sarada saw next stunned her. It looked like the rocks landed on something solid and bounced off something that wasn't even there. What the hell? Sarada thought to herself. She grabbed another rock while Shinachiku wasn't looking and tossed it down, aiming for the exact same spot. The same thing happened, but this time the boy took notice somewhat. What was that? Shinachiku asked. I thought I heard rocks landing on something. Give me your hand, Sarada commanded. What? Why? The boy asked confused. Do you trust me? What? Do you trust me? Shinachiku actually blushed slightly at her question before he smiled. Absolutely. He gave her his hand, right before she leapt off the ledge with him in tow. Ag! Shinachiku screamed in panic, expecting his imminent death. What he got instead was rough pain as both he and Sarada fell flat on a solid surface, a surface that wasn't there. Right across from them was the opening to where the rest of the tunnel lay. The children groaned in pain as they got their bearings back. OWWW, what the hell was that? Shinachiku demanded. Call it a leap of faith, Sarada quipped while groaning herself. I saw rocks bouncing off something that wasn't there, so I suspected that there was an invisible bridge down here. You suspected an invisible bridge? What if you'd been wrong? We both could have been killed? Well, then we'd just have to figure something out on the way down, and besides, that way you would have gotten out of our deal. Since when do Uchihas make such reckless decisions? Shinachiku asked while standing up, again, on a bridge he could not even see. We don't, she answered, I only did it this time because I saw it work with my own eyes. Pretty sharp eyes, keep it up and I'm certain you'll develop the Sharingan in no time. Sarada was taken aback as she stood up herself. You really think so? I know so, believe it. Once again, the girl couldn't help a minor blush that appeared on her face. Shinachiku noted their current situation as he looked down. Whoa, we should probably start moving to the other side before anything bad happens. Huh? Oh yeah. With that, both kids dashed at their top speed to the other side and made it through the opening, where somewhere the chakra gem still lay waiting for them. Naruto, please, Sasuke begged, let's not do this. No, let's. Naruto screamed. I trusted you. I believed in you. I stuck my neck out for you when nobody else would. And this is how you thank me. By betraying my trust in our village, and worst of all destroying my family. I thought that you'd changed, that you were a different person now, but I guess I was wrong. At this Sasuke actually scowled in irritation. You know what, I was wrong before, I have changed a lot since then, but clearly you haven't Naruto. You're still the same irrational, reckless, emotion-driven idiot that you were when we were kids. Always thinking with your heart and your mouth and never with your head. No wonder Sakura used to prefer me instead of you. That did it. For both of them. Sasuke had taken one gigantic step too far. How dare you? Sakura yelled. How dare you bring that into this? I was young and foolish. I was distracted by good looks and cool attitudes back then. I was too blind to see that beneath all of that was just this empty shell of human being who values the power that some magic gem can get him over those he claims to love. Watch it, bitch. Karen yelled. Talk like that to my husband again and I'll gut you. Stay out of this, Karen, Naruto shouted to his very distant cousin. You, Suigetsu, Hugo, whoever the guy in red is. Oh, my name's Randamu whatever. All of you stay out of this. This is between me, Sakura and Sasuke. Wrong, Naruto, Karen yelled. You may be the only family I've got left, but if you've got a problem with Sasuke then you've got a problem with me. Fine, but if anybody else makes a move, my team is here to get in your way. Got it? The rest of the Konoha 11 each got into their battle stances, some even getting their jutsus ready for an imminent attack. The other 3 members of Taka could not say anything in retaliation. Frankly, they were all pretty scared of Naruto as such an angry state. Sasuke sighed and activated his most powerful dojutsu, the Rinnegan, while the Mangekyo Sharingan remained within his other eye. Okay, fine. I guess this is how it's going to be. The 3 former teammates each bit down on their thumbs, drawing blood. They each then slammed their palms down on the ground. Summoning jutsu. In 3 large puffs of smoke, 3 gigantic creatures emerged, each with their summoner standing atop their heads. Beneath Naruto was a gigantic red toad, a pipe in his mouth and a tanto sword at his waist. Beneath Sasuke was a gigantic blue snake. Beneath Sakura was a gigantic blue and white slug. Well, it's been a long time, Naruto, Gamikachi said to the one that summoned him. Too long, old friend, Naruto replied. But this reunion is a bit short-lived. Sasuke has yeah, I know. A toad that your son had summoned told us all about it. So where is the kid anyhow? Thanks to Sasuke, he and Sasuke's own daughter are at the bottom of the ocean right now. Gamikachi suddenly got mad as he glared at the snake master before him. Come again? Lady Sakura, Katsuyu asked in worry, is that really true? Sakura, after swallowing her own emotions, replied, yes Lady Katsuyu, it is true. Lord Sasuke, Aota asked his master, have you truly murdered their son and your own daughter? Of course not, Sasuke answered, but these 2 are too blinded by rage to let me explain the situation, so it looks like it's 4 against 2 this time. Gamikachi smirked as he reached for his weapon. You know, I always did want a snakeskin wallet. Aota got a stern, emotionless expression. Frog's legs do sound really appetizing right now. Oh Lady Sakura, Katsuyu begged, is there no way to end this peacefully? I'm sorry Lady Katsuyu, Sakura replied coldly, but the time for talking is already done. Naruto, Sakura ... and quat. Sasuke spoke one more time, I know you've both been through a lot, and I know that you must both be furious with me because of how this looks, especially after all the grief I caused you both when we were younger. But I swear to you that I had no intention of ever harming your son, and especially not my own daughter. So I'm going to ask you again, one last time, let's calm down and discuss this like adults. Neither Naruto nor Sakura did or said anything for several seconds, just stared coldly into the Uchiha's eyes, until, finally, Naruto spoke. Show him to me. Excuse me? Show me my son. If you can give me proof right here and now that Shinachiku and Sarada are alive, then we'll talk. Sasuke answered back, look, when I sent Shinachiku and Sarada down there, I gave Sarada a microphone so she and I could stay in contact, in case anything went wrong down there. Sakura scowled, really? And has she contacted you once since then? No. And quat. He then reached for the microphone that he wore around his neck. Sarada, this is your father. Please come in. Repeat, come in. Sarada please, come in. There was nothing but static on the other line. Sasuke looked like the blood had drained from his face. He'd done it. His daughter and godson were both dead, their corpses resting at the bottom of the sea. Well? Sakura snapped. I did it. I killed them ... and quad. Sasuke said, totally lost. Everyone gasped. Naruto, Sakura, their friends, Sasuke's team, even the 3 summons. All of them were horrified at what the raven-haired man had just confessed. You son of a bitch. Naruto screamed at the top of his lungs, his Kurama-like features accentuating even while in Nine Tails chakra mode. Naruto, Sakura shouted, getting her husband's attention as the violet lines in her face started glowing. Save a piece of him for me. Lord Sasuke, Uta called out, perhaps now would be a wise time to summon your Susanoo to come to your defense? No. Stand down Uta, the Uchiha said lost. Scum like me doesn't deserve a fighting chance. With that, the Uchiha deactivated both his Rinnegan and his Mangekyo Sharingan. Sasuke, Karen shouted, what are you doing? Sasuke turned to look at his wife, I'm getting what I deserve. What I've deserved for a long time. Karen, I love you. Karen was brought to tears as she heard Naruto and Sakura leaping off of their summons calling out two of their most powerful techniques. Wind Release, Repeated Rasen Shuriken. Cherry Blossom Impact. Sasuke listened to his wife's outcry of grief as he merely closed his eyes, waiting for the end to come at the hands of his closest friends. The two travelers continued their journey down the tunnel until they arrived at yet another room. This time they came to a small room, rather blank and unassuming and with absolutely nothing there, except for a short staircase carved into the far wall leading up to some sort of altar, as well as another human being. The man looked old, like he was in his 60s at least, and he had long, unkempt red hair and was dressed in raggedly old warrior's clothes, somewhat similar to the armor worn by the samurai from the Land of Iron, only less bulky and without any helmet. He carried a samurai sword at his side. Both of the children looked at each other in a mix of shock and confusion. Neither of them could believe that there was actually someone else down here, and they both wondered instantly how long this old man must have been here. Excuse me sir? Shinachiku asked as he approached cautiously. The old warrior reacted on instinct to the intruder's voice. He grasped his weapon and swung it at his enemy. However, due to his age, the old man swung very slowly and the boy was able to dodge the attack with little effort. The old man fell down to the ground in a huff as Sarada ran to help him. Here, let me help you, she said. Good gracious milady, the old man replied, it is good to see such kindness even in my moment of defeat. You're welcome. The old man turned to the boy now looking down upon him in confusion. Mlad, you have defeated me in mortal combat. For that you have passed the fourth trial of the chakra gem. Trial? Shinachiku asked confused. So we were right, all of those other traps, the stature, the keys, the leap of faith, all of them were tests to see if we were worthy of the gem? Correct, the old man confirmed. The trials were meant to test your intellect as well as your fortitude. The statue was a test of your attentiveness, the keys your perception, the chasm as your faith, and myself, a test of your might. I see. The boy contemplated. Who are you? I am a loyal warrior of the Uzumaki clan, the old man said, one who has taken an oath to stand guard over the chakra gem that rests here, to test the fortitude of any who should one day come to claim it, and to make sure that none but those with Uzumaki-clad blood may collect it. You've been here ever since the gem was buried here? Sarada asked, to which the old man nodded. But that was generations ago? Long time to wait, the old man remarked. No offense, Shinachiku interrupted, but how have you stayed alive so long, especially down here all by yourself? Each of the 7 chakra gems possesses a different, amazing power. I was blessed by one of them with the gift the curse of everlasting life. The children's eyes nearly bulged out of their sockets. So the gem that you're guarding makes one immortal? Sarada exclaimed. Nay, the old man answered. I was given this burden by one of the other gems, a trusted sharing of power by allies of the past before the 7 were all buried across the world. The gem I was given the task of guarding possess a far more destructive power. The kids took a moment to take all of this in before the old man spoke again. I have waited a long time for 2 worthy souls of Uzumaki blood to come forth and claim the gem for their own. Though I have to confess, I had expected them to be much older, and of far more noble dress for a ninja. The kids frowned a bit before Sarada spoke. Let's just say that a lot has changed since you've been down here. Of that I have no doubt, milady, the old man answered. Truly you children must be warriors of the highest order to have made it this far. Shinachiku and Sarada frowned again. This time Shinachiku spoke. Our parents are the great warriors, especially our fathers, especially my father. I'm nothing compared to him. Do not doubt yourself, young man. Someday your peers will look upon you and say you will be just like your father, the bravest and strongest shinobi in the world. And then one day they will all look again and say, no, he is greater than his father. And quote. Shinachiku finished the old man's words with a renewed pride in his voice. The old man actually smiled warmly at this before turning to the girl. Milady, the Uzumaki bloodline flows strong in your companion, and I do indeed sense Uzumaki blood within you, but I also sense, more prominently, the blood of Indra's line, of Madara's clan. Are you of the Uchiha? Yes, I am, Sarada answered. I see. So, The lines of Asura and Indra Otsutsuki have come together at last. Both children blushed bright red. Wait, what do you mean by come together? Shinachiku asked in a panic. The old man realized he had maybe stepped out of line. Oh, please forgive me, mlad. I meant no offense. The two children calmed down as Sarada spoke. So, what happens now? Do we just take to gem? Alas, 'tis not to be so, the old man said. Both of you must offer up your blood to the altar to release the chakra gem, but first you must prove yourselves worthy be passing one final trial. And what trial is that? Shinachiku asked. You must answer a riddle that I shall recite to you myself. Those who cannot answer wisely and correctly are not worthy of accepting the gem. Do you accept this trial? The children exchanged glances at each other before turning back to the old man, and both answered as one, we accept. So be it. And quat. The old man sat up as the kids sat down in front of him, waiting for whatever riddle the old man had to offer them, and praying internally that it wasn't anything too difficult. Finally the old man spoke. This thing conquers all other things. It takes many forms, many shapes, many levels, but always it is found between two people, or oftentimes families and friends. Once forged it can never truly be broken. It can be forged instantly or over time, and is as mysterious as it is wonderful. When kept in control this thing will free you, yet when out of control it will condemn you. Can you guess the answer? The children said nothing for several seconds, both of them deep in thought, until finally Shinachiku's head sprung up and he leaned over to whisper something in Sarada's ear. She seemed confused by what the boy was telling her at first, until he elaborated. When he did that, Sarada's face brightened up, both in understanding and in joy. They each turned back to the old man. We know the answer, sir, Sarada told him. And what is your answer? He asked. The kids looked to each other smiling and then back to the old man, answering as one, love. And why do you believe that? The old man asked. Why do you believe that a base emotion as insipid as love is the answer? Love conquers all things, Shinachiku answered. I've seen it every day of my life between my parents. They've been through so much, good and bad, and they always did it together. They shared a bond of love without even realizing it, before both of them were ever in love. My mother believes she hated my father when they first met, blinded by feelings of love for Sarada's dad. But over time their bond deepened into a true friendship, and ultimately into something more, something she never saw coming. And once their love was confirmed it would never be broken. More than that, you say that it takes many forms and shapes, so I think about my love for my sister, for my friends, for Shinachiku stopped himself. He merely glanced at Sarada and then back, as did she. Sarada decided to finish speaking for him. I have seen it in my family too. My mother was infatuated with my father and for years he did not return her feelings, until one day, before he ever saw it coming, he found himself in her arms and he was happy. My parents love each other, and despite their faults, they both love me, just like Shinachiku's parents love him and Hanami, and like how she could not finish her sentence either. I see, the old man said. You both have answered ... and quat. The children made no motion as they each braced for the worst, wisely. They both let out a breath they did not realize they were holding as the old man continued. Indeed, love does conquer all. It takes many forms and shapes, and it can be instant or form over time. And once such a bond is forged it can never truly be broken. Congratulations young warriors, you have passed the final trial. Some unknown force had come over the two children as they leapt up in joy, shouting yay to the heavens before embracing each other in a hug, which they quickly broke in embarrassment. I promised, the Churka gem is yours, but be warned. Even those who have the purest of hearts may find themselves corrupted by the gem's influence if they are not careful. Such is the price of such power. The children looked over to the staircase leading to the altar and, not realizing that they had taken each other's hands, walked up the stairs to find a small chest that was intricately decorated in gold, silver and ruby. On the stone table that the chest was sitting on were indentations in the shape of a pair of hands, one for the left the other for the right. Both Shinachiku and Sarada knew what they needed to do next. They each pulled out a kunai from their weapons pouches and, standing next to each other, each put their kunai in their hand and grasped their fingers around it. Shinachiku held his in his right hand, while Sarada held hers in her left hand. Biting their lips and closing their eyes, they both slashed their palms quickly. Ow! Both of them yelled as they screamed in their own self-inflicted pain, but they each got the better of themselves and placed their cut hands in their rightful place at the altar. What happened next was remarkable. The chest opened up and out of it came a bright, almost angelic red light. It was so intense that they each had to cover their eyes before getting used to the intensity of it. And then they saw it, resting there in the chest, the source of the red glow. A small red gem that seemed so small yet they could both feel housed incredible power the likes of which they had never seen before. Shinachiku dared to reach out to grab it, but Sarada stopped him. Sharing eye contact for what felt like an eternity, they both enclosed their hands around the gem. The room began to shake. The tunnel was collapsing around them. If the walls did not cave them in and bury them alive, then the water outside would drown them instantly. They both needed to get out of there now, and yet neither of them could move. It was like they were both held still by some invisible force which they could not control. With what power they had, they turned to the old man, who had watched the whole scene. He had nothing to say, save for raising his hat and declaring, "Godspeed, young warriors. My duty is done." As if on cue, a bright red energy coursed out of the gem and through both of their bodies as they still held it. The energy passed through them until, after briefly making their eyes glow red with power, it forced both of their heads up into the sky as the energy shot out of their mouths in an immense display of power, the ceiling above them shattering as a result. Neither of them knew what was going on, and neither had any clue how they would get out of this, but at least they were in this together. That by itself made it a lot better. Naruto and Sakura were poised to deliver their attacks, and Sasuke was poised to receive them for all he had done, but the blows never came. For at that moment, with a thundering sound unlike any they had heard before, a gigantic beam of red energy burst out of the water. Everyone on the island, the former Team 7, their friends, Sasuke's team, even the three summons, all of them were speechless at what they were witnessing. The power that the beam gave off was nightmarish, on a level they had not seen since their battle with Kaguya and the Ten Tails so many years ago. "Oh, pretty," Randamu commented. Go figure, he'd be the only person on the island who would be able to say anything about what was happening. For the three former friends, however, plus the Uchiha's wife, the vicious, bloodthirsty feud they shared just seconds ago was instantly forgotten because the sight before them now was truly horrific. Even though none of them had ever seen it for themselves, they knew what was causing this, and they knew what it surely meant. Shinachiku. Naruto and Sakura screamed at the top of their lungs in an absolute terror. Sarada. Sasuke and Karen screamed in like fashion. And there it was, at that instant, as the beam of red energy shot into the air, they all feared the worst. Their children were both dead. What they did not know was that many yards away, two masked shinobi garbed totally in black also saw the powerful beam of energy. They stopped long enough to observe the phenomenon, then looked to each other and nodded. It was time to secure the chakra gem for Taka, once their first mission had been carried out and Naruto Uzumaki, his wife, and all of their allies were eliminated. Well, I'm really tired, and you know the usual, so have a wonderful day/night, bye.